What's up guys, this is Cher talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be making a full review for the second Golden Week banner, Romancing Festival Undine, that brings a new summer version of Undine that this time is a will debuffer specialist with good damage and damage reduction passives as well. Then we have Myriam, a character with some RNG for chase attacks and also heals and support. Then Fatima, a sleep specialist that can also paralyze. Let's start with Undine, and she has a very nice status distribution. 85% endurance, 90% will means that she's not gonna take much damage. Compared to other mages, this status is actually pretty good. Her agility and intelligence combo is also very high. She will have good status to get very good accuracy when landing her attacks, while also going before the enemies and being capable of applying debuffs. That's what she wants to do. Now, passives, we have Strengthened Energy Tree, increasing damage by 10% at all times and starting the fight with 13 BP. Then Great Block Tension, increases damage by 30% at all times and damage taken reduces by 25%. Then Fired Up 7 gives her 40% increase in damage at all times. So it's pretty interesting. We have 80% damage increase at all times. Also, 25% damage reduction and starts the fight with 13 BP. There's plenty of things here. Remember when Mystic Asylus got 60% but lost 3 OP because of that? Well, Undine has much more than that, but this is a sign of a power creep that will start to appear from now and beyond. So, skill number 1 is called Acquired. It's free, so you have a single target attack with the Power 7 mod. It's just like a normal attack from other types of weapon, but in this case for mage, it just helps her not use a bonk attack because that one barely does damage and usually just misses. And it also has a chance to debuff will by 15% on max level. This is actually amazing. Usually this type of skills in the past cost like 3 BP. It's now free in her case, and not many characters have access to spells like that. The second one is called Bubble Sphere. For 6 BP you have a full AoE attack with the Power and 14 mod. This time it has the power of old spells. Has a chance to debuff will by 20% on max level, so higher than the normal 15%, and it's full AoE. And since it costs 6 BP, that means that she can actually cast this 3 times in a row. The good thing is that, well, it's better than most other options for AoE, and you can keep casting depending on the situations. This will allow you to apply some sort of ailments, but I don't know. When we usually need to apply ailments, it's for fights where there's only one enemy. If there are multiple enemies, okay, this makes sense. So you can bring Undine and debuff will as many times as you can, and then use someone else to apply an ailments. Now, the third one is Dolphin Splash. This time it's a single target attack that was buffed to become 4S with cold and blunt damage, and has a chance to debuff will by 30% on max level. So this is actually very powerful as a skill. 13 BP cost is kinda high, but it's 4S power double elements, it's good enough. And starting the fight debuffing 30% will is very good. We had some characters that could do that in the past, like Vassalt. There's also 2 other very good debuffers. We have Ruby. Ruby also has a chance to keep debuffing by passive. She gets a very cheap attack, call it Far Hat, and then she has a chance to debuff will with her passive. There is also Red Mage that is a very good will debuffer, and many others, but just mentioning those 2. So with Exhaustion, Red Mage keeps debuffing will, and he can also just inherit Fire Hat just the same. So sometimes when you really need to apply a specific ailment in a challenge, you can bring like 2 will debuffers, 2 buffers, and an ailment inflictor. So it all depends on the number of characters that you have for this type of strategy. But I still have to say that this is an extremely niche strategy. You would not need this much often. In towers and in very specific challenges, yes. So it all depends on the number of characters you have access to. I have like 4 will debuffers, hence why this does not seem so interesting to me. Undine is strong, but we will not bring her for boss fights because, well, if you do not need will debuffs, what is she doing in the fight? The good thing is that she does have good inheritance options, like in her Global X style we have Ring of Life. We can also debuff Dexterity with Shield, if you really want. And she can also just stun with Bubble Pop. Now she has a very high agility, so constant Bubble Pop will keep an enemy stunned. And you can bring someone else to either debuff agility or debuff will, so that she can keep that enemy in check. But again, it's a very niche mechanism that you don't use very often, but it's something that happens here and there. Now with 13 BP, she can also do something like Diamond Dust 2 times in a row. Not that this is so strong, but B power will help clear waves, but she will still need a stronger character to be paired up in order to finish waves. Although, yeah, 80% damage passive is gonna make Diamond Dust feel like an A power attack. Another interesting inheritance comes from her teacher style. If you have, you can get Aqua Viper Plus, and this has 31 power. I can solo farm some story stages with Joe. And Joe doesn't have that much power. Actually, when you use Robin Joe, you can see that she only has 30% damage passives, and she buffs her intelligence on start. She can solo farm story stages. This is something that Undine will do very easily, but she does not have a dedicated weapon like Joe has, so you still need to craft one. But when you do craft a strong one, you will be able to solo farm some stages in story mode. But now, going back to her main design, if you bring her to a boss fight where you need will debuffs, you're gonna open with Dolphin Splash, then keep using a Quart to regain back BP to use Dolphin Splash again. But 13 BP is a lot, so it's gonna take 4 turns or more, depending if you have some BP batteries in your team. The design of the character itself, it's kind of simple. We have 80% damage passive, 25% damage reduction, but even with all of this, you're not bringing her for boss fights most of the time. So hence why we have a conflict in her design. A good character that would not see much utility. And Undine will get a future style. And that future style does not require any of these skills, kind of safe for a Quart. A Quart could help a lot. But since Undine is kind of a niche, I don't think she is important. It's easy to skip and we will receive a plain SS grade in the tier list. Now, let's just talk about her future style, because this one has some, well, possible buffs for global that will make a difference. She has a 1 BP skill that deals damage and recovers HP by a lot, self-recover. She does have a second skill with defense boost that increases defense by 15% to the party, and she can keep this going because it lasts for 2 turns. And the skill number 3 has both defense boost and guard up. This is something that the newest Barbara can do. She does both with medium effects. This one here only do one with medium and the other one with small. But, well, I can see them changing and making the next Undine an amazing style that will compete with Barbara. So in that case, you would like to have a 0 BP spell instead of using Clearwater, because you want to save all BP that you have access to keep a perfect cycle. In GP, she does not have a perfect cycle. She gets 8 BP every 2 turns, and the skill itself costs 10. But this is likely to change in global. Now, the next character is Fatima. She's a rapier user that can apply ailments. She has a focus on dexterity, agility, and intelligence. None of these status are too high or top-notch, but they work. She has kind of low endurance when compared to Will, that is just okay. Now for passives, we have Illusion Mastery 1. On the start of a turn, she gets 5% dexterity and intelligence, and when being attacked, she has 25% chance to evade per hit. Then the second passive, Purifying Energy Cure 2. On the end of a turn, she has a 50% chance to recover 2 points of BP, and then recover her HP by very small effect. That should be around 170s, and also we remove all debuffs and ailments applied to herself. That's not even that important because of the way that she works. So on average you get 1 BP per turn, let's say. And then High Protect Tension, decreasing damage taken by 30% and giving her 20% damage passives. That's the only one she has. So she's not made for damage anyway, just to use her ailments and apply some effects. First skill is called the Sleep Step. For 4 BP you have 3 effects. She will try to inflict sleep on everyone with a fast skill. So if you can inflict sleep, you will probably be able to because her intelligence is high. You have to manually level the skill to reach max potential, of course. It's just like the same skill as Jane has. Jane has Lady Step. In her case, it's called Sleep Step, carrying the 2 other effects, Morale Up and Guard Up Small. Guard Up Small decreases damage by 12%, Morale Up Small increases your damage potential by 15%, but it does not translate into real 15, so it doesn't really matter much. Guard Up is the most important thing. If you're having difficulty with the Rapier Remembrance and you didn't summon for Jane, this could help a little with Guard Up, but I do believe there are better options. This is not something that important, and so far there's no Remembrance battle where you need sleep, and I barely used sleep in this game, maybe 2 or 3 times in the course of almost 3 years. Then the second skill is called Thunder Pierce. For 6 BP you have a roll attack with 8 power, Pierce and Lightning, and it can inflict paralyze with medium chance. Medium chance is better than just low. She will probably inflict paralyze if the enemy does not have 100 or plus resistance. As an attack to farm, it's not that powerful because she does not have good damage passives. Her dexterity is not even that high, so she works for events with 2 aids, but you need to bring someone else to just help do enough damage to kill enemies. Now the third one is Watermelon Bolt Crash. For 9 BP you have a delayed attack that hits single target with SSS power 62 mod. That's not that high, but it's Pierce and Lightning again, and we recover her HP by very large effect. That should be 1.2k easily. So 9 BP, it's something you can get around 2 turns, a little more than that. So if you bring her for Remembrance, she will not be your best damage dealer, but if she needs to be healed, you can just use this attack. You can start the fight with Sleep Step just to give you Guard Up, and then eventually when she needs to be healed, just use the attack so that you don't need to cast a spell on Fatima. Well, besides that, she can do something else, like instead of just using Sleep Step, you can also do an attack that is called Mesmerize from the S version that's now found on the premium banners. This one deals damage while trying to inflict sleep medium chance. It's nice because in the end, medium chance is better than, you know, low chance. If there's only one enemy, that attack is better. She also has this attack called Dancing Moon that recovers her own HP and it costs less. Let's say it's better than attacking with delay and you think that you're gonna die by delay. She can also inflict stun with Purple Lightning just for that Kazinsi fight, but right now I guess it's just too easy to clear Kazinsi. But in the future, stage 25 will come and then you can use her for stun. But there's plenty of options too, this is not something that will matter too much. But in the end, this Fatima does not have a good cycle. She has an attack with 6 VP that she can use 2 times in a row, but nothing more than that. Her third attack has delay, it's not made for farming, so when exactly do you use Fatima? On Remembrance, if you're having difficulty. And if you're not having difficulty, she's just gonna stay in your inventory for most time. And when you bring her for farming, she's not gonna make much difference because in the end, her power is not that big, she needs help to clear waves. So Fatima is really niche and someone that I don't see much usage. I will be giving her an SS- grade, since, well, it's super easy to skip her and she barely affects the performance of many accounts. The last character is Myriam, and we have a very nice status distribution here as well. Compared to Undine, she has bigger defense but lower offense. 94% endurance for a mage is actually very good. Will is 100%, so even higher. Her intelligence is not the biggest, and her agility is not as well, but they are on average levels for damage dealers. For support is more than enough. Love and Charisma are on average levels, but she's actually a healer as well. For passives, the first one is called Intuition to Intelligence. On the start of a turn, she has a 25% chance to enter a full evasion stance where she will not take any damage or ailments. and also will buff her own intelligence by 15%. Not reliable, but very nice when it triggers. She also has our wall defense 6, decreasing damage taken by 40%, so very nice. She would not take much damage, like I said, even more defensive than Undine herself. Then the second is Scorching Hot. When she lands an attack, she recovers 1 BP, so if she lands attack, she gets 4 BP per turn. Then also, when landing any attack, she has 37% chance to chase with Wild Fireballs. 37% chance, it's usually once every 3 attacks. But let's talk about Wild Fireballs. This is a spell that costs 8 PP, basically, and it hits between 1 to 6 times with the power hit damage. Well, there's plenty of RNG here. Between 1 to 6, there are 6 different outcomes for this skill. And I don't like this. I never liked it such a high RNG chance. When we had skills that hit it between 3 to 5 times and they costed like 9 BP, you knew that 9 BP for 3 hits was already triple S power, for example. Here, if you are spending 8 BP and you get only 1 hit, it's terrible. But she can get this as a chase attack for free. You can even get Wild Fireballs after using Wild Fireballs. Imagine the RNG. You can get 6 hits 2 times. Almost impossible. I mean, very low chance to happen. So I don't really think it's useful at that point, because she's not even a damage dealer. Look, she only has a chance to buff her intelligence, but she does not have damage passives. So the damage is really lacking here. Now, the skill number 1 is called Cure Fire. For 1 BP, you have a single target attack with E power and 9 mod. That's, well, okay, it's only 1 BP. And it will also recover her own HP by small effect. That should be around 800. So, she attacks enemies with 1 BP, while self-healing 800 to just stay alive. Remember that she has our wall defense and very big endurance and will. So, she will stay there alive in most fights, even if, well, everyone else dies. Because she cannot heal the other people around. Now, skill number 3 is called Ultraviolet Burst. For 10 BP, you have a fast attack that hits a single foe with Hidden Sun. Double S power, 50 mod. Well, the damage itself is not big, because it carries a lot of effects. The first is a Guard Up Medium that decreases damage by 25% for 1 turn. Nice, only 1 turn, so you cannot cycle this very well. But it carries 2 other shields. The first one, a defense boost for heat damage, the second one, a defense boost for sun damage. Both carry large effect. So each will decrease the respective elemental damage by 35%. If the enemy attacks you with a skill that has both sun and heat, you're gonna take both effects, so minus 35, and then also minus 25 from guard up. You're barely gonna take damage. But, well, remember that she gets 4 BP per turn. That means that she can only use this, well, once every 2 to 3 turns, depending on the situations and the rotation that you're using. The cycle is imperfect. But Myriam reminds me too much of a character from the past that we need to discuss, and that one is ScherBR. Why? Well, they are very similar. But ScherBR is still superior, even though she has inferior status. As you can see, she has only 42% endurance. Will is okay. Yeah, her agility is much inferior as well. But we need to check the overall design of the character. ScherBR can't heal anyone, so she can revive. Besides, she has telekinesis for that very popular, very small healings. And it works for remembrance, it can also work in some other fights. She gets 5 EP per turn. And then, that's when Dimensional Aura comes. It's the same skill. You can see here, double S power, 50 mod, but carries different elements. You can still see the Guard Up Medium. In her case, we get Cold and Shadow boosts, while the Myriam Shield is for Heat and Sun boost. So, in the end, it's just the same thing with different elements. But Myriam gets only 4 BP per turn, while ScherBR gets 5 BP per turn, as you can see by her passives. That means that if you wanna use Dimensional Aura on turn 1, you can. it's fast. It will just apply the shields. If the enemy uses shadow or cold attacks, it's gonna be even better. Then, the next turn, you use a normal attack. Turn 3, you can use Dimensional Aura again. If you are defending against Shadow, Cold, or Bolt, this works well. I use it for this, but if you're only using it for the guard up, the effect may not seem so incredible. But the good thing about ScherBR is that when you don't need the shield, you can just keep using Telekinesis. It's a AoE heal that can help when your main healer does not have enough VP, so that you can lessen out the need of using some type of attacks on specific turns. And if you need extra help to survive against a nuke attack, you just don't use Telekinesis in one turn, the next one you have enough VP to use Dimensional Aura. So, ScherBR just works. Her design is much better than Myriam's in my opinion. Well, she even does a little more damage, because she always buffs her intelligence when she attacks, and she also self-buffs intelligence and love. Her heals are also higher, you can see by the status. So in the end, Myriam loses to ScherBR because her design has some flaws. What she has for herself is the cheap attack that she keeps healing herself, but if she is the only one standing, what happens? You will not win. And the RNG behind Wild Fireballs is not reason enough to bring her into battle. As for inheritance, I must say that they don't make much sense. This Myriam was made to cycle between skill 1 and skill 3, or just go nuts with RNG and cycle skill 1 and skill 2. But, well, there are at least two things. You can inherit Firestorm Plus to have a AoE attack that can debuff agility, may be useful here and there. There is also this skill called Flame of Life. It's a single target spell that applies recover in the end of turn. It's a regen that heals very small, so 170 HP 10 times. It's equal to normal healing, but spread out 10 times. It may work for some cases where you have to bring a character that does not have damage reduction passive, so you want to keep that person alive. But I still don't think that Myriam was made for hard challenges anyway. So in the end, if you want to do damage with Myriam, you should use either the last Platinum style or the last Welfare style, because they have damage increase passives and they will do more damage. Anyway, even with lower status. So, this Myriam is limited to boss fights and it does not even offer too much. Sadly, she's very easy to skip. She will only get an SS- grade, will certainly get less than that as the time goes, because of, well, not affecting how we fight against hard challenges. Now, going back to the banner image, is this banner worth summoning for? No. I will be giving this a Bronze award because the characters here are extremely niche. Undine has good damage, she has a good status, a good damage reduction as well, but in the end, the way that she was designed is too limited for fights where you need will debuff. If you really want to do damage, you will bring someone else, even though she is stable. Now, Fatima is very limited since we barely ever need sleep, and even if we do, we don't know when it will happen. Myriam design is inferior to ScherBR. If you have a ScherBR, you're probably gonna use her instead of Myriam in Remembrance, and there's way too many different options for staffs in order to just choose Myriam. With all that said, this is my opinion. What is yours? Please say here in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you want to support the channel, there are links in the description. I hope to see you soon in the next one. Bye.